Hey everyone, welcome to our podcast, Femme Noir. I'm Serena.
I'm Victoria.
And we are a podcast that talks about movies, specifically movies centered around women. So we're going to talk about movies that are written by, directed by, or starring women.
I think today I'm actually going to start off to switch it up. I'm going to start off talking about the movie that we are going to be talking about. We're going to be discussing Birds of Prey that came out in 2020, almost exactly a year ago, last February, directed by Kathy Yan, written by Christina Hodson, who is also set to write the Flash solo DC movie. So that's really exciting. The film stars Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Huntress, Journey Smollett as Black Canary, Rosie Perez as Detective Montoya, Ella J. Basco as Cassandra Cain, and Ewan McGregor as Black Mask, along with his associate Victor Zsasz. Okay, so now to read off of this. We will be giving our first impressions of the film based on the trailer and of our first watch of the movie, and then break down the film and discuss notable scenes and things that worked or didn't really work. Later, I will be giving a little bit of trivia about the movie. I'm gonna have a little trivia corner, give you guys just some like fun little behind-the-scenes facts and stuff from the director and from the people in the movie. Afterwards, we'll discuss how and when the film passes the Bechdel test. And if you aren't familiar with the Bechdel test, then don't worry, I'll explain a little more when we get there. And then finally, we'll give our final scores: 10 stars being a perfect film, needing no improvements, 5 stars being a flawed movie but still watchable, and 1 star being bad with a capital B. And we'll end with similar movies that we would recommend if you enjoyed this movie and other films by the director. So we'll start off with trailers and advertisements. This is one of the few movies that I have watched the trailer on repeat almost. I know a lot of people do that when they're excited for a movie. Typically, the more excited I am, the more I avoid it because I really don't want to be spoiled at all. I like to go into movies not knowing anything. But I was so excited, and I have been waiting so long. 4 years I waited for this movie. And the trailer was just fucking bomb. It was so awesome. So I was really excited for it, and I was not disappointed in my first watch. I really think I feel like they nailed it. The trailer really nailed the vibe. I don't know about you though.
I feel like if you listen to our Wonder Woman podcast, you probably know that I have a little bit of a disdain, I guess, where I'm just a little bit cautious when it comes to DC movies. And after seeing Suicide Squad, I was really worried about Birds of Prey. I was still gonna watch it, but I didn't think that it was gonna be that great because Suicide Squad sucked.
Objectively.
It was so bad. And so I was really worried. I did like the trailer. I thought it was fun, but every time I watched it, I was holding my breath a little bit because I wasn't sure it was going to, stand up to or hold up to my expectations, and I didn't want to get too excited. So I definitely watched it. I watched it a couple times. I had to because at the time I was working at the movie theater, but then I was also going to a lot of movies. And so it was one of those ones that was whatever movie you're watching, it was gonna be a trailer. So I watched it a lot. A lot.
It got me so
those
hyped.
Are kind of my... Yeah. I was excited, but I was a little... I wasn't quite sure if it was actually going to be that great. The trailer definitely gave me hope for the movie. I'll say that. But yeah, I wasn't after seeing how they treated Harley and Suicide Squad, I was if they do that, I was about to be pissed.
There was nothing that could get me down.
I was ready.
I was riding so high. The fact that they included Cassandra Cain, who is a Batgirl. I fucking love the Bat family, and I have been waiting for them to include anybody in the extended DC cinematic universe, and the fact that they included her is bomb. And I know they retconned her a little bit. They retconned pretty much all the characters, but it worked really well, and I was just so excited. It was cool in the trailer. They introduced the characters as their character names and not the actors. It was said Huntress is in the movie and stuff like that, which is really fun. Dude, I was so pumped. And then the first watch of the movie, dude, it was like me and 3 other guys in the whole theater. There was nobody in there, but it was fucking bomb. So good. I love this movie. I'm so biased, but I love this movie. So what were your initial thoughts about the movie?
I actually really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I was going to. And there were like certain scenes where I was like, I really liked that. I really liked how they did that. I remember specifically when I was watching it the first time, I loved the fight scenes. And I remember like telling my dad after, like in the movie theater, like when we were walking out because we saw it in theaters, I was telling him, I was like, whoa, that movie was super cool. Did you notice the fight scenes? And he was like, what about them? I was like, all of the fight scenes were in like wide shots. Like you could actually see them doing the like fighting. Like there wasn't any of that like weird up close shaky cam that like a lot of times you do just to make it, it's so that you can like cover up like fake shots and stuff. But I thought it was really nice that you could actually see the fighting, and that I absolutely loved. I loved the fight scenes in this movie. I really liked how all the women in the movie had like legitimate reasons to be there, but it wasn't just like, oh, I know this person, so they're gonna be along with us. Like, I remember thinking about this and I was like, oh, Ocean's 11 for some reason. I think I was thinking about how it was like an all-female like ensemble film, and the only other ensemble film I could think of off the top of my head was Ocean's 8, which made me start thinking about Ocean's 11 and how most of the guys in the film were only there because it was like, oh, this guy that knows a guy that knows another guy kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And so they were like, I guess we'll just, put our entire life savings and our literal lives on the line for this guy that you say that has been in jail definitely a couple times, and maybe he's trustworthy. I don't know. I'm going to have to trust you. He's your cousin kind of a thing, which is like weird. Like, why would you do that? I don't know. Maybe it's a criminal thing, but I liked in this movie how they all kind of had their own angle into the situation, and they had probably crossed paths at some point. And I know like some of them definitely did, like not Cassandra. Well, actually, yeah, Cassandra and Montoya, but then also Montoya and Black Canary had been working together for a little bit, but they had their own situations that they were dealing with that brought them into the main situation. And then from there, they all kind of decided collectively at some point, like, okay, we're just going to have to work together with this. So I really enjoyed that was kind of the thing. It wasn't just, we're all going to be here because reasons. Yeah. It was their own individual stories that brought them into it. And I really enjoyed that bit about the writing.
Not to like completely just derail us right away, but I just watched I just watched Tenet for the first time, and I know we would never ever talk about this one because there's like one girl in it and she gets fucked up. Have you seen it already?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, you hecka have. Oh yeah.
I did.
Yeah. You definitely have.
Oh god. So
okay,
good.
I think you liked it though, right?
I really liked it.
But
I like Christopher Nolan, and I have my own issues with Christopher Nolan, but he's so good. He's so good.
Okay, here's my problem though, because I just saw it, and what you just said just reminded me of my biggest issue.
Like pet peeve?
The reason I want to take this movie out back and fucking beat it up is because none of the characters have motivation. I didn't understand. It made it so hard to understand it, and it made it that much more confusing because there was no reason for any of them to do any of what they did. Besides the fact...
That's fair.
Yeah, besides the fact that they knew that they had done it. So, like, when John David Washington's, the protagonist... like encounters himself in that fight later on, he's like, oh, spoiler I need to go back and fight myself, but there's no reason that he should do that besides the fact that he already did it. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would he do it?
Yeah.
It was upsetting, like the whole
I was
movie.
talking to someone who mentioned the same thing. They really liked it too, but they were mentioning like how basically with Tenet, you see half of the movie and then you don't see the other half of the movie, and it doesn't get alluded to until the end, and you're like, crap, now I have to like watch it again to see what I didn't pick up on, because I've only seen it one time through, and I like the whole like time screwy stuff and how all of that works. But that is true, like there isn't really like a huge motivation, except for some of like I thought the girl had a pretty cool motivation. Hers was really interesting, and not, again, I'm so sorry we're off track, but I did appreciate that she's probably the only she's the only woman Christopher Nolan has ever written that actually has like anything to do with the movie. Like she actually has like an actual role, and she does something that affects the plot. Like no other movie does he do that in. It's either they're always like motivation for the main character to do something, or they were Elliot Page in Inception, was there for half the movie and then just like disappeared, like literally didn't do anything. I really thought that they did a good job in this movie, like explaining why everyone was there. Exactly. Because that is a thing they do in films with a lot of like big actors, where they just like don't explain it, and they don't have to because the actors are huge. That is something I was upset about, because like it literally in like, I compare it to like the Harry Potter movie where the Prisoner of Azkaban, I'm pretty sure, where they use the time turner, because that was like my first impression with like, I get so into like the way that movies perceive time. Like I am so into this. Like I'm sorry to everyone, but like I am like, no, I'm the same way. I like, love it. Yeah, I'm like, bitch, you better get it right, because I will catch you if you don't. And like, in the Harry Potter movie... Hence my interest in Christopher Nolan. Like, in the Harry Potter movie, she... Like, when Hermione and Harry, whatever, they go back, there's motive... Even though those events already happened, there's a motivation for them to occur without them knowing. So, like, even in that final scene where, like... Harry got saved, and then he goes back to that moment, he's like waiting for someone to show up, and he's seeing himself get his ass kicked, and he knows that someone shows up, but he doesn't know that. So it's like there's a motivation for him to save himself, because he's like, yo, no one's showing up, I gotta do something. Like, and but in Tenet, literally every single time they go back and do something, they're like, oh, I just have to go do it because I already did it, so I have to go do it. There's no like literally there's no reason for him to fight himself. Oh, but I thought that was like a rule. I thought it was like a rule. What's a rule? It was like, if you, like, you have to make sure you do the exact same thing. So if you see like evidence that you've done something again, you have to do it. Otherwise you're gonna like ruin the time-space continuum or something. But the other thing is, the main character and the girl were the only two that weren't there on purpose. Like everyone else, like, they say it at the end, which is why it's super confusing, is that the whole movie, everything you see, is one of those things that they're trying to pull off. Like, the whole thing is a job. That's what I'm saying. Like, and even... So, like, everyone else has a reason to be there, because they're like, I have to do this because I did it then, and I have to do it because they're already, like, way that's not in the motivation. They're but only they're the doing only it because they know that it happened. That's not a motivation to me. I'm like, so what was the igniter? Like, there had to have been a point where they weren't just doing stuff because they knew that it happened. Like, so that was kind of like... That's so interesting. I thought that made it so interesting was that they even didn't know. They were like, I don't know what the future is because I already did the future, because time's existing at the same time, and that's insane. And I thought it was so interesting. But that's... To me, I'm like, that's a little messy. Fine. I think he got his hands dirty, and he kind of dug himself in that hole, and there was no clean way to get out. That was not, like... I'm kind of glad, actually. I'm like, Harry Potter did it better than you. I'm a little annoyed with how good he is at times sometimes. Like Dunkirk and Memento. Why was he... Like, those were amazing, and so I'm kind of glad that he has one of his own little, like... Because it's also, like, his theory or concept isn't something you see often, so it's, like, his own little thing. Yeah. And it's interesting to me, was okay. Just to, like, watch as, like, a director to be like, okay, so the way you generally talk about time, it seems as if everything he's ever done has, like, led up, like, every rule, I guess, that's been in all of his other... I know, Christopher Nolan, like, universe here. Oh my god, you're such a stan! I can't believe there's all little rules that he has, and he, like, combined them all together, and I'm only looking at it from, like a, wow, that's so interesting that he, like, did that, because it made me think of another one of his works. I have to watch it again. Like, I've only seen it one time. But when I was watching it the first time, I was really more in awe that he was able to weave it all together.
I did not think that was weaved. That was a kindergarten.
A lot of
grade
people
weave.
thought it was like really confusing, and I didn't think it was confusing the first time I watched it. I don't know why. Like, I was like, oh, I totally understand it. And it wasn't until after I was talking to other people and they're like, I didn't understand like this or this or this. And I was like, oh, I thought it was because of this. And I was like, maybe it's not, and I have to watch it again? Like, I don't know.
Dude,
So
that's
I honestly
how he's
can't tell
getting
you if it makes sense or not.
That's how he's
Because I
getting
was
you.
so interested in
I think it's
just
a
the
trick.
concept that he was writing of, like, time.
To me, that's a head fake.
Because I was like, that hasn't been done before.
It's like, guys always do that. They do shit that's, like, convoluted, and they're like, you just don't get it. But, like, it's nonsensical. It completely doesn't make any sense. And he's like, it does, but it doesn't. Like, okay. So I just wanted to say that Birds of Prey did that better than Nolan himself. Like, they actually gave their characters motivations, and I thought that was pretty sweet. And I appreciate it a lot after seeing movies where they don't do that. And it's cool that they do that in some movies, and you pointed that out, and I just thought that was cool.
Because even, like, okay, this is also another... It was probably a flop because of the time it came out and how much money they spent making it. But the King Arthur movies that Guy Ritchie did, like, I'm going to be honest, I also kind of really like Guy Ritchie's movies a lot and just like the style.
Film bro.
But none of the guys have any reason for being there. Like, there's never any reason for the guys to be there. So I really enjoyed that this movie made sense, because I'll just overlook it. Like, the majority of time when there's a movie and there's like sometimes he often makes movies where it's like, yeah, there's a reason, where he kind of does similar to Birds of Prey, where it's like different people and then at some point they collide. But like the King Arthur movie, like, it was like, oh, it's King Arthur, they're supposed to be there, no one's expecting them to be there. And so you can get away with it a lot. Like, even in like Avengers and stuff, they'll be like, oh, it's so and so, like, here they are, you know, this superhero from the comics and that they're supposed to be here, but they never explain like why they're there or why they agree to do it or like the motivation behind it. So I really liked that every single character had a motivation for being where they were in the exact moment that they were.
Yeah, there was a Guy Ritchie movie that came out like just before Birds of Prey, The Gentleman, I'm pretty sure. And that one, it was pretty good, but...
Did it? I thought it came out at the same time.
Yeah, like literally like the same time. It was before lockdown.
They both came out near my birthday.
Yeah.
I liked The Gentleman because it was like a storytelling. Yeah, that one was fun.
But then, yeah, that one,
Plus
they didn't reveal who the guys were like until the end. Like, you kind of really don't know the actual motivations of these guys until he lets you, which is interesting. Yeah. Something that we kind of learn is like anti-suspense, because like that's the whole thing with like Hitchcock, which is like showing the audience what they should expect and then not letting the characters know what to expect, and then it builds suspense, but then there's not, it's kind of weird.
The
it's
whole like dramatic irony thing.
Yeah, they don't really do that there. They kind of keep the audience just as like in the dark.
Just as clueless.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. I think it's interesting that that's like a thing I guess we're seeing a lot more of in films, is the whole like audience not really knowing. It's a like an unreliable narrator type of a thing where you're like, do I really believe the character and like what they're saying? Like, I don't know, like it's very interesting because before, storytelling was very much about like the dramatic irony of it, the fact that the audience knew what was happening but the characters didn't, and now it's the exact opposite with this unreliable storyteller narrator type thing. It's really interesting to see like this trend in storytelling, but yeah. Okay, what did you think about the movie? Because I know I went off about my initial thoughts, but what were like your initial thoughts when watching it?
Obviously fucking loved it. It was totally my humor. It was totally like, I love bright colors. I'm sick of like superhero movies that have lots of like, and I bagged on Happiest Season so much for it, but like being ugly, like I'm so rude, but like I like it when the frame has like many colors. I like it when they have outfits with many colors, and even if it's like serious subject matter, like I enjoy when they use colors, and it's not just palette of beiges, you know. I like when there's like a lot of variety.
It's just it's a dark gray, and then it's a nice blue gray, and then this is a shadow.
I know, exactly.
It's like, why is it so dark? Well, it was Twilight.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I I know. I like
It's
when
all
it's
like
busy.
weird tones of blue gray, which is like okay, or it's like a weird like gray green color, which I absolutely
Yeah.
despise. Like why do we have movies in that color? It's
Or like that
ugly.
yellow
Let's
color.
stop. Let's stop that right now.
Yeah.
Let's go back with like the purple. Like if you're gonna do a movie that's dark colors, go Moonlight. Go like Euphoria.
Yeah.
Don't do this whole
Sparkles.
green, yellow, ugly like subway New York City like the heck?
Yeah.
Why? Why would you choose that? You have all of the power to make a movie and you chose to make it ugly. Anyway.
Oh my god. You said it better than I ever could, but
I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize. Who are you gonna apologize to?
You had
the only
your
person
reasons.
That's gonna be mad is Christopher Nolan.
Had your reasons. I'm just saying. You have the choice. You have the choice. It's always there.
That's at fucking the dudes that make fucking those DC movies, and it's like dark as hell. Who is it? Zack Snyder or whatever. Good movies. It's
sorry, Zack
too
Snyder.
dark. It's like someone turn on the lights, bitch. I can't see shit.
Yeah, like why are they in the dark?
Yeah.
My goodness.
I know. I hate that.
I want to see.
I know. I hate that style. I don't care if the subject matter is gritty. Like I enjoy when they have lots of colors, and that was something that is super awesome because I was watching with my sister, and she really liked that part where Harley goes into the jail looking for Cassandra Cain, and like her gun is like loaded with like confetti and shit. Gun. Yes, it's so fun, and it's such like a pleasing scene, and they use the music as well. So the music is very loud, the colors are very loud, and that's like it's like the binary of like that like dull visual to like a very explosively colorful visual, and you can kind of go. Yeah.
Love the contrast for like comedic reasons too.
Yeah.
Especially for comedic reasons. Like I think the reason a lot of dark comedy works is because you have to play with that binary of like, okay, the subject matter is dark, but there also has to be something light to contrast it. And so if you're gonna do it, like sometimes they do like it's a really dark screen and they deliver lines really bluntly, but the line they're saying is like totally out of nowhere, like totally weird.
Yeah.
And then the other time it really works is like in this movie where it's a really dark, gritty subject matter, but it's super bright and colorful.
Yeah.
You know, like I absolutely love that, and I think we need more of it, to be honest.
I know it's fun,
love it so
or not
much.
fun, but it's like an experience to like watch Huntress like shoot up a fucking restaurant, and you can see the whole thing, and it's like these reds and yellow, and it's like a lot of like it's kind of fun. Like honestly, it makes it like a lot more interesting.
It was beautiful.
To me.
I thought it was great.
Yeah. And I think because it's unique, it sticks in your mind. Because you were saying earlier how you'd only seen this movie like once or twice, but you can remember like every detail. And I think because they make choices like that, it sticks in your brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They make really good decisions that just kind of stick. Like the scene where she's running in the beginning when she's about to get like caught by the cops, or Montoya's chasing her and she's running and she had just gotten her breakfast sandwich. I remember, like, I don't know why I remember. I will always remember if someone says Birds of Prey, this is the first thing I think of, is her running down the street. She shoves the sandwich in her sports bra so that she can use two hands to jump in. She jumps through the window of the truck. And I was like, that's amazing.
That is amazing.
I thought that was the best thing ever.
It's so
and
good.
I immediately, like every time someone says Birds of Prey, I'm like, that scene. That is the scene that I picture in my head.
Yes. Okay. Same because of that outfit. I loved the outfit she was wearing in that scene. But then that makes me want to bring up. Yeah, the sleeves. I want it so bad. They were selling like duplicates at like Hot Topic or something, and they were so expensive, but like I wanted one. But I wanted to talk about.
They're so cute.
Yeah, that what you said earlier, off camera, but I'm gonna bring it up about how in Suicide Squad, Harley's outfits are super you can see a difference between what she wears in this movie versus what she wears in Suicide Squad, and I thought it was
a huge difference.
And you could attribute that to a variety of factors, but I just thought it was nice because of the theme of her being emancipated, and her outfit in that first movie, like she had the graphic on her shirt that said like Daddy's Little Monster and that kind of stuff. And then in her, emancipation in her now solo movie,
like all of her clothes were ripped.
Yeah.
Like, why were they all ripped in Suicide Squad? Like,
Yeah.
oh my god, that wasn't nice. I did not appreciate that.
And there was a like sexy scene where she's like dressing or whatever and like undressing and like
Yeah.
it was like a
Like in
pan
front of
up
all
on
the
her
men.
body. Yeah, it was like
Ugh.
super weird. I don't know, not into it. But then
And
in
they
this
do
movie,
the like close pan up thing.
yeah,
Like there's a shot where she's standing like I think it's when she ends up like betraying the Suicide Squad or something and goes with the Joker, and she's standing on the building with like a gun and she had just shot it, but it goes from her legs and pans up. And I was like, that's such a male gazy type of a thing
like
to
unnecessary.
do. And that's something you don't see in this movie. Like they definitely had a female gaze in this movie, which is it's the exact opposite of a male gaze, because a male gaze, what they'll do is they'll like take bits and pieces of things like sexualizing women in ways that they don't even need to be sexualized. A lot of times it'll be like a scene where they're like, oh, this is super disgusting and we have to show that this woman's being abused by showing her body and close-ups and stuff. And that really isn't necessary, because there's a scene in this movie when the villain he's in the bar and he's like really upset, and this girl's laughing with her date or whatever, and she like makes her stand on the table, and they do it in like wide shots and like medium close-up shots. They don't do a close-up shot, they don't do a pan shot, but the scene is he's being like, you need to undress right now because I'm gonna embarrass you, and it doesn't feel good to watch it. It doesn't feel good to watch it. They don't make it sexual by doing close pans of her body as she's undressing. She's not wearing sexy lingerie. She's wearing mixed match underwear, for crying out loud. And you can feel her embarrassment. And it's just like, and then you see Black Canary and she's practically crying because she has to sit there and watch this.
Yeah, she
And
was
it's like,
crying. Yeah.
You should feel disgusting watching these things. You shouldn't be like, oh, so poor her, poor her. Like, you should feel bad by having to watch this. You shouldn't feel like, oh dang, that really sucks to her. She's so pretty though. Like, no, that should not be your thought.
Yeah, I think something pivotal to like when
that's
you bring
such
up
a
the
male gaze
yeah,
like way of directing something, and I'm so glad they didn't do it in this movie. They don't do that in a lot of movies, especially when it comes to like women and them being brutalized on screen. They don't help their case by the way that they direct it. They almost like romanticize it,
yeah,
and it's very wrong.
Yeah. Like some of the like so things that are like pivotal in male gaze, it's like shooting a woman with no face, so like they'll show the body mainly, or they'll show like her from behind. Minimal clothing, that's something that it attributed to the male gaze a lot.
Yeah.
Only showing women
boob shots.
Yeah, only showing women like in situations like where they're compromised is something very male gazy. So they don't really show women just like being casual, hanging out, whatever. They're either like like sexually compromised, undressing, dressing, whatever, that kind of stuff, or they're making out, or it's a sex scene, or like those sorts of things. It's like,
yeah, or they're like using their sex to their appeal or like to their advantage type of a thing.
Yeah.
And even though they shoot her in a completely submissive role by doing a shot that's a down angle on her.
Oh yeah.
I hate that.
That's it. Yeah.
I hate that. Like when they do the down angle.
Yeah.
As if the POV is looking down at the female. They never do like a good shot. It's
right. That is
there's
important.
There's so many things I hate about that.
Yeah. And then not to, because I actually haven't seen this one, so I won't get off topic again with this, but in Queen's Gambit, I know that there's a scene where the main character, who's, I can't remember her name. I should look it up. And basically, if a lot of people have seen it. Have you seen it?
I haven't actually. My parents saw it.
Okay.
I didn't watch it mainly because chess isn't my thing.
Okay,
and I saw a lot of jokes about chess and orphans, and I was just like, interesting. And I was like, I'll probably watch it at some point.
Yeah, maybe.
I like the main actress.
Oh yeah, Anna Taylor-Joy.
I think.
Yes. So there's a scene where she's like supposed to be like having a breakdown, or she's like hit rock bottom, and she's literally like in fancy lacy underwear and like a really like flowy tank top, and she has full makeup and she's like dancing around with like a wine glass, and that's supposed to be her having a breakdown. And I was like, someone said something like,
I saw a TikTok on that actually. The girl was like, how men write women doing having a breakdown, and she's like wearing lingerie, and she's like, let me just make sure I look sexy while I'm crying.
Yeah, she's like,
and she has like her glass of champagne, and she's like, how it really would have been if a woman wrote it would just be like her one moment crying, and then the next moment she's like, should I just buy this random item because why not? And then she like does, and then she's like, damn it, I bought that item. And then she starts crying again because this is a breakdown. And then she's like, okay, let me return it. Like, let me just cancel the order now that I've got my life together. And then she starts crying again. And then it's like, okay, I really hate this picture and I need to rearrange my apartment. And I was like, yes, facts.
Oh, that last part, yes.
I will straight move things around.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so I just thought
like,
that was funny.
I just gonna binge watch an entire television show in one night while eating popcorn and not even changing my outfit for like 3 days?
Bundled
just
up in
because
blankets?
I'm feeling down and in a depressive episode? 100%.
Yeah.
Am I gonna lay down in my bed and just kind of stay there because it's warm? Uh-huh. I will do that instead of get food. I can tell you that much.
Yes. You should be writing it. They should hire you. They should need to hire you.
When I'm sad and having a breakdown is be cold wearing lingerie.
It must have spiked when you said
Are you kidding me?
I want to see your levels when you said cold. I know that shit went boom.
I'm so sorry. That was so loud. But I'm heated.
I love it when you get heated.
Heated.
I love
You're kidding
that.
me? I'm not trying to be cold. I'm trying to be like I'm trying to hibernate. I'm not trying to be cold. Last thing you'll see me in is freaking lingerie if I'm in the middle of a breakdown.
Yeah. Right?
I'm in the shower probably with the water as hot as freaking Mordor. It's as hot as the sun. And people are like, literally, how's the water this hot? And I'm like, because I am having an emotional breakdown.
Not Mordor.
I'm trying to be cold here.
Like, okay.
I'm trying to feel something other than whatever emotion I'm going through. And if that means burning my skin off, so be it. But it will not be cold. It will not.
Okay, damn. Are you good?
Yeah, we're doing fine.
Ooh.
I took my meds this morning. We're great.
Okay, that's good. So this is good, like, passion.
Okay, sorry. I peaked. I got really heated. But there are a couple of other things that I wanted to say about this movie that I thought were amazing. And specifically, I think that has to do with like how the women interact with each other. I mentioned earlier about how all the women, they come from their own individual storylines, and then they kind of congeal, they congregate at some point in the movie, and they all have to fight together. And I think it's interesting because none of them really are like friends, but they're also not enemies. And the it's something that I think is really interesting because I think that if like it feels really realistic, because if I see like another woman, even if I don't like her out in public, that's being like, I don't know, maybe something's going on with like a dude or something, like I'm 100% gonna feel protective over her. And so I felt that with this movie and how the women interacted with each other. And this is probably like such a random scene, but I thought it kind of helped was when when they do all come together in like the fun house, the playhouse or whatever, and Harley's got Cassandra strapped to the toilet because she swallowed the diamond. And she's like, you gotta get it out, otherwise I'm gonna have to kill you, kind of a thing. Cassandra's like screaming, and then Black Canary comes in and she's like, what are you doing with the girl? And like Huntress and Canary are like, hello, you can't be doing this, and they're fighting Harley. Meanwhile, Cassandra's still strapped to a toilet, and then like Montoya shows up and they're all fighting against each other. But then immediately, as soon as they're like, crap, the Joker's coming, they're like, all right, guess we're a team now. And I was like, that's 100% something that would happen. Like, yeah, the girl may be crazy, but she's not the Joker. like he's awake. Like, I'd rather go with the crazy girl than with the guy that's just gonna kill me for being a woman, you know?
The Joker?
It's not the Joker. I'm sorry, it's not the Joker, but he wasn't in this movie. The whole reason was because they broke up, but anyway.
It's fine.
That's an inside joke between me and the movie.
Okay. Ouch,
the guy, you know, the villain, the main guy.
Yeah.
Is his name also Max?
No. Black Mask?
No.
I forget the name that they used for him.
Human name. His human name.
Human name. Let's see. It was... R something.
Rockwell. I don't know. That's a stupid I don't know where that came from.
Roman Sionis.
Okay, that's a way cooler name than Max. I was about to be like, did they really just name every villain Max?
They could.
Because we talked about Wonder Woman and the guy, the villain was Max.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well.
But I thought that was great because I was like, yeah, definitely not gonna go after, like, gonna try and defend the guy that's kind of the reason we're all here. Like, that girl may be crazy, but I'm definitely going with her. Like, I'm on her side. I would do that in a heartbeat. Like, nuh-uh. I'm not going with that man. I haven't met him yet. I know I just met her, but I trust her way more than I trust him.
You know what? We actually talked about this before, but I guess, like, I wanted to bring it up again, that I just appreciated how many relationships they were able to express in such a short amount of time. It's like an hour and 47 minutes,
Yeah.
but you really get a lot of different, like female, like inter-female relationships. So you kind of get like the like older sister, younger sister relationship between like Margot and Harley Quinn and then Cassandra Cain, and then you get like that older, like more mature figure in Detective Montoya. It was kind of cute that Huntress was like sort of like a more reserved and like shy presence, but then the way that they as a friend group were able to like complete each other and like back each other up and that kind of stuff. It was nice to see them all interact and like because even in like movies where there are a lot of like girls present. I talked about this a little with my sister, and she was like, you kind of normally get like it doesn't make sense. Like they feel very fake, and I think that that's because like they're mostly like male projections of like female stereotypes. So it's like there's like, oh, we talked about this a little in Wonder Woman, how it's like, oh, the nerdy girl and then the pretty girl and then the athletic girl, and you know, like these sorts of like girl stereotypes. But then in this movie you get like they're more fleshed because they're from like a perspective of somebody who views females as humans, like girls as just being people. And I thought that was really nice because it wasn't a movie centered around, oh, here's an older sister, younger sister movie, you know, that's typically where you see it in like chick flicks where that's the point and it's a mom and daughter movie. But you kind of get all of that in this movie, in addition to them just being cool superheroes and kick-ass and a cool team. You get those sorts of relationships as well.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Like, I think the only stereotype they had in the movie was, like, Huntress being the weird one. Being, like, the socially awkward one. Which, like, also completely made sense, and you didn't have to question why she was like that because of, like, the intense trauma and childhood that she was brought up in. Yeah. And you're like, yeah, it makes sense that she would be socially awkward because she hasn't experienced social.
Yeah.
That's not a thing she's been through. I also liked how you mentioned the, like, I guess, like, the sisterly relationship with Cassandra and Harley, but I also appreciated Black Canary's character, like, a lot.
That's true.
I loved how she interacted with everyone. Like, she was like, okay, Harley, you're super weird. Like, girl, you need to go home. You're in the bar. You're drunk. And then she saw her out there and was like, okay, I'm not about to let her get, like, kidnapped by these dudes. Like, she went and, like, beat them up. Yeah. But then at the same time, she was like, you could help, you know? And then she, like, left and was like, be a part of your own business. And then, like, later she runs into Cassandra when she's like, oh, your parents being, like, annoying again. She's like, hey, go down the street, here's some money. And then I think Cassandra tries to rob her at some point. Maybe she doesn't, but yeah, like the whole thing of just being like, girl, what are you doing? And then, like, I don't know if she robbed her, but it was, or she didn't rob her. She robbed the guy that was with her later.
There was like a moment where Cassandra like
she has to be like the pocket and Diana, the bodyguard guy.
But Black Canary like grabs her and she's like, one day you're gonna pick the wrong pocket, kid. Yeah. Remember that? Yeah. That
scene. But yeah, I thought that she it's not really like a sisterly relationship. It's just like a protective, like, hey, don't get into stuff, like, don't end up like me kind of a thing. And I thought it was really cool because it added a lot of depth to the actions that she did in the movie, like her choices for making a lot of, or the reasons for her making a lot of the choices that she made had a lot to do with her background. And you could see that her background not only affected things on like how she acted on a small level, but also how she reacted to things plot wise. And I thought that it was really cool to have them be simultaneous and they made sense and they were consistent.
Yeah, and that's breaking free of the stereotype thing too. Because then even me as a film viewer, after watching so many films made by men, written by men, I only really know filmic female relationships in those terms. I'm like, oh, here's this sort of relationship, but then this movie sort of breaks that mold and says there are other relationships that we have not seen, you know, and that can exist, which is like that between Black Canary and Cassandra Cain, and then all those other combinations. Those characters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's really cool to see. Let's do Vic's trivia.
Okay, so some of this I just learned myself, but then there were a couple things that I have known, and so it'll probably be repeats for Serena. But and a lot of them are Margot Robbie oriented, sorry, but I love her. Okay, so the first one.
We love her.
First little fun fact.
Margot Robbie, if you're listening, we love you.
I love you, Margot. You're my fave among faves.
Because she's totally listening to our baby podcast.
Who knows?
Thanks, girl. Thank you.
We know
you got us.
We got you.
She's a real homie. A real, true homie.
Okay, so you said, I said something like, we didn't even plan this, but earlier, Serena said that she really liked the fight scenes and the choreography. And this movie has the same fight choreographer as the fight choreographer for Atomic Blonde. So, and I thought the fight scenes in Atomic Blonde were really good. If you haven't seen that movie, really unique. And me and Serena talked about...
they're amazing.
Yeah. Like how when... sort of similar to the way that we said that color can give a lasting impression and make you retain what you... like the visuals that you experienced more easily. In the same way, fight scenes that are non-conventional can stick with you longer if they are... If they are non-contemporary. So if... Or not contemporary. What was I trying to say? Like non-conventional. So...
Yeah.
Fight scenes like Serena said that are like shot with like wide shots where you can kind of see like awkward actions and like full range of motion stick with you longer, and I thought that was really cool because I like both of those movies.
I think the other thing about these fight scenes between the two movies is that like it actually looks painful to get hit. And I think that that's also something that like lasts with me. You're like, ooh, that had to hurt. Kind of a thing, because a lot of times they're just kind of going through it and then they're not sore or anything, like none of that. I know like a huge thing in Atomic Blonde was she was like, oh my gosh, my body, after like they showed like all the bruises and all of that stuff. And in this movie, like even though they didn't really show all of that or like the soreness behind the fighting, like they did show that she was an experienced fighter because she was straight like bulldozing through people. But then she also had to do it with I'm a smaller type of a person, so I'm going against a bigger person. Let me use like physics? It's probably physics. I'm bad with that kind of stuff. I have to use physics to make sure that like my mass and use their mass against them in my center of gravity. I got it. Kind of a thing. They actually show a lot of fight scenes and choreography that engages that, which is something that you learn if you're taking like self-defense as a woman for purposes.
Cool.
You know, those reasons. But I thought it was really cool that they incorporated a lot of that in her choreography in both films. So it's really cool actually that they're the same person, because like, dang, we should hire them more. They should do like all the choreography.
I'm kind of going on.
It feels very real.
Yeah. Margot did a lot of her own stunts. So there's some cool clips from the scene where she's breaking Cassandra Cain out of the jail. Where Margot Robbie is doing her own stunts and flips and fighting the guys. So it's
That's
really
awesome.
Cool.
What the heck?
Yeah, it's really cool.
Another point for Margot.
Yeah.
We love you.
As if she needs any more. She's already big. Oh my god. Oh, okay. So another one, that one of the ones that I just learned was that there were actually multiple choreographed dance scenes shot for the movie. So the one where she's getting beat up by Zaz.
Yeah.
And it breaks into like that Marilyn Monroe, whatever dance number. There were like multiple other ones. I don't know like what the context for those were, but she like, they practiced them and shot them the whole thing, and then they just didn't make the final cut. So
dang, that sucks. I kind of wish you could see them.
I know, right? I'm like, they're probably so cute.
Where's the deleted scenes?
I know, release the freaking director's cut.
It's the one thing I miss about like DVDs is you can't just like go in on Amazon and Netflix and be like, deleted scenes. Like, I wish we could do that.
Yeah, like bloopers and
they
stuff.
They would include those there.
Okay, another Margot one. I promise I have a couple that aren't Margot, but all of them are. So the scene in the very beginning where she's cutting her hair after she dumps the Joker, or the Joker dumps her, that's the only take that they did of that scene because they only had one wig and they had like no time. Oh. So they could only shoot it once. And then Kathy Ann tweeted that, of course, Margot killed it. But yeah, that's the only take that they did. Yeah. Oh
man, so many things could have gone wrong.
I know, but
I'm so glad that turned out okay.
I know.
Dang. Right? Wow. Okay.
So
I'm like truly invested in this trivia.
I know a lot of these I just learned them. Ella J. Basco, who plays Cassandra Cain, actually took like sleight of hand lessons to pickpocket, so that when she's doing it in the movie,
that's cool.
It's like realistic. Yeah.
That's sick. Wait, what the heck? I remember as a kid, I was like super obsessed with sleight of hand. Could never get it down, but I always wanted to know how to do it. I should try to do it. That'd be fun.
You're gonna start pickpocketing.
That's so cool
people?
that she did that though. No, of course not. Shh.
Bitch, if I come visit you and I'm like, where's my shit?
I want to steal from you. It'd be like a Robin Hood situation.
Okay, that's valid. So you would give it to me. You would put pocket me.
Yeah. I'd steal stuff for you.
Girl, okay. That's allowed.
I got you. You.
Oh my god, thanks.
FBI, please don't come after me. I'm not actually stealing things.
I know, they don't got no proof. Like they don't got no video.
Yeah, what proof?
Yeah, no proof. Try it. They could try it. You'd be like, stole your badge.
Come at me. I'm just kidding. Please don't.
Okay, last one. Journey Smollett, who plays Black Canary, specifically requested a woman of color to be her hairstylist because she's like, no way I'm gonna have a white girl.
You could tell.
Yeah.
That's true. Okay. As a person with black hair, yes. I'm half black and half white. So my mom has really thick like red hair, and then my dad has like really he's got like thinner hair, like individual curls, and his individual curls are like a lot smaller than mine. So I have not only really thick strands, but I also have like really kind of like tight coils, as you can kind of see. And oh my goodness, it took so long growing up to get someone to like do my hair the right way. And like my mom learned a lot because she didn't grow up with a lot of white friends, so she already kind of knew how to take care of her hair, which is like a godsend. I could not imagine trying to learn that stuff, like just because your kid has like this hair, like my hair, you can't see it because of the background, but it's out to here.
I can hecka see it.
It looks this short, but if I were to like flat iron it, it'd be like this long. Like, look at the shrinkage there.
What the fuck?
I know,
your hair
it's
so
super long. That's like practically like a foot long of freaking hair that looks like it's shoulder length, but it's actually like down to the middle of my back if I were to straighten it, which is why it takes like 7 hours to flat iron my hair. And
oh my
like
God,
it's huge. Like my hair is about as wide as my shoulders dry, but if I were to blow dry it, it'd be half as big. So like I keep seeing stories about black actresses and black actors saying like, yeah, there's this huge discrepancy of like hairstylists in the industry that don't do black hair or know how to do black hair. And you can even see it in a lot of character design. Like there's a show on Netflix called Tiny Little Things, and it's not that great. It's very entertaining if you like Riverdale type stuff. It's about like ballerinas, but the main character is a black girl, and they have a scene where it's like at night and she's rapping. She has like a head wrap on or like a bonnet, and I was like, oh my goodness, that's super cool to see, because the only time I saw it was like in Dear White People, they show like nice hair scenes where they're like covering their hair with the bonnet, or like the guy has his wave cap on and stuff like that. And I was like, those are things that like we have to do like every night. Like I have like satin pillows because otherwise my hair gets really frizzy. And then I also like wrap my hair. I've got like a silk or satin giant headscarf thing to cover up all my hair. And so, but like I've also had my hair like messed up by white hairstylists. Like they've gone through and just jacked up my hair.
Bro.
Like jacked it up. Like I had to cut it all off and then grow it back out because they messed it up so bad. And like, could you imagine being an actor or an actress and like someone does that to your hair? Like that's a part of your image and like your brand. You can't get jobs if your hair's messed up. Like you have to have actual representation behind the scenes that know how to do your hair. And it's like the other thing is that like for some reason learning how to do hair that isn't just like white or straight is like also more expensive. I have a friend that was going through school to be like a curly hair stylist, and the reason it's kind of ridiculous is because one, it's way more expensive to do a lot of the training for it, and then two, it also, in order to get your hair done with this hair, it costs twice as much. I had to learn how to do my own hair. Like I cut my own hair. I do a lot of the treatments myself because it costs so much.
Yeah.
And it's like, come on. That's kind of ridiculous. But I'm glad that she stood up for it and was like, I'm going to have a person of color do my hair.
Let me
because
make sure.
I know they're going to put in the effort and they know why it's important.
Let me see. Oops.
It's another one of those random things I'm passionate about. Sorry if I peeked.
Let me see. Oh yeah, she made sure that it was a black hairstylist. That is what.
A black hairstylist?
Yeah, so I said woman of color,
sense.
but she
like,
said black hairstylist.
Important.
So I got it wrong the
black
first time.
Hairstylist.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay. Because, like, I couldn't even imagine if that was my job. Like, if I was a model or if I was, like, an actress, like, and they messed up my hair. Like, I think I went in to get, like, a keratin treatment. And for some reason, my hair came out, like, it had, like, product in it when I left. And it had taken the girl, like, 9 hours. We were there all day. And my hair, like, it would not come out of my hair. It was disgusting. And I was like, what the heck?
I didn't know your hair was so long. That That's news to me. I've never seen you do that, where it's just like, boom. That's crazy.
You've never seen my shrinkage? What yeah, that's a thing. If I straightened it, it would be really long. But I don't know if I have the shoulder arm strength
to do that all day.
My hair right now. Maybe I'll do it one day because I do want to see how long it is. I just have to, like, you know, work out a little bit before.
Yeah, it has to be like a 2-day thing.
Gotta build up to it. Yeah, it might take forever. I might have to get like half my family involved. I'll get my mom on one side, on my right, and then my sister on my left.
That's actually not a bad idea.
And I'll be in the front doing the front.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Okay, so now we can do the what is it? Fuck, marry, friend zone.
Friend zone. FMF.
FMF. Today's FMF contestants are... We have Victor Zaz, the assistant.
Victor Zaz.
Played by Chris
Who I'm pretty
Messina.
sure is gay for Roman.
Right. Roman is our other contestant. Roman Sionis, Black Mask, played by Ewan McGregor. And our last contestant, who should it be? Should be the landlord.
The landlord?
What other
guys
that
run the restaurant?
Yeah.
I don't know. There's probably like some police guy.
You'd rather do the police guy? Let's see.
I don't remember.
Beep, boop, boop,
Shoot, there weren't that many men, huh?
Yeah.
There's also the guy that was sitting as the date with the one girl in the bar. Or his like goons that you never saw. You could do the Joker.
Fuck no. I'm not gonna do the Joker
in this movie.
We'll do that because we did the dad for the Happiest Season one. So we'll do Doc, the landlord, restaurant guy. Then we'll do
the landlord.
Yeah, and then Roman Sionis, Black Mask, and then Victor Zaz. Those are the three. Would you like to go first?
Oh man. Okay, definitely kill Roman because oh my goodness, he's got some issues. Actually, I don't know who's like worse actually between Zaz and Roman. They're kind of both insane. Like I don't feel safe.
Victor
I
Zaz.
want to have sex with one of them.
Hopefully they do it later, but Victor Zaz is the Mr. Freeze villain. So he's not in this movie, but he's his own villain in the Flash and stuff.
Terrifying. I'm definitely making a friend at a dock.
Yeah.
Like 100% want to be on his good side. Oh my goodness. I have to marry one of them?
Oh, I lied. Victor Zaz isn't the...
I don't even get to kill someone.
Isn't the Freeze guy. Who the fuck is Victor Zaz?
I have to marry one and have sex with one. That's disgusting. Ugh.
What the fuck?
Man,
this is him in the comics.
Choice.
What the fuck? I thought it was the Freeze guy. He's ugly in the comics.
He's creepy.
They made him cute in this movie. Yeah, which one would you fuck? Add music so I'm not just dancing to nothing.
You're just listening to my moans of like
you're like no
sadness.
Why?
I'm like no,
and I'm like
maybe I can do one of those like okay, you think we're gonna have sex, but we're not gonna have sex. I have seduced you, and I'm actually here to assassinate you, kind of a thing. And
what? Is that a thing that happens?
I would do that.
Jesus.
Yeah, you know in those like spy movies.
Okay,
for some reason, the spy woman is always supposed to like seduce them and then kill them.
Right.
That's just like a thing, I guess.
Right.
So I would do that. I wouldn't actually. They're not getting inside of me. I'm sorry.
Wow, they're that ugly that you're like. Ugh.
I'm not trying to die.
Man.
I feel like it would hurt. They would not be nice. Sorry, that's too much information. Just being real here.
You're
I would do one of those
so
situations.
Hard about it,
with,
like.
I have to. I can't not. I would do one of those situations with Roman, and then I would do one of those like marriage things where it's like we get like a marriage on paper type of a thing,
right?
And I never have to see him, and then probably also kill him with Zaz.
Oh, and then
or
Doc
at least
is your
divorce him.
friend.
Maybe he has money.
Okay.
Actually, I take that back. I would friend zone Doc. I'd be friends with Doc.
Okay.
We'd be great friends. Be on his good side. I would pretend seduce and then assassinate Victor Zaz, and then I would do like a marriage thing with Roman because he's like super rich, and then I would kill him to get his money.
Okay, that is so complicated. I would fuck both of them. I'd fuck Victor and I'd fuck Roman Sionis. And then I would just do the others with Doc. I don't care. Anyway, that's my answer. Easy. I'm an
like
easy
a whole
person to please.
Storyline going on.
I know. I'm like, huh?
I couldn't care less.
That's doing too much. You know what? I'll just fuck Doc too.
That's so
fuck
funny.
it. I'll just do all three of them. Fuck it. Just make it easy. That way we don't have to
Maybe
think
get
too
a discount.
hard.
I don't know.
I'm not
so
pressed.
funny. All right.
Ratings.
So Bechdel test plus.
Oh yeah, duh. Oh my god, we still have to do Bechdel test.
Oh yeah, no. Let's do Bechdel test first.
Oh yeah, okay.
It doesn't pass immediately. We talked about it in Wonder Woman, how the first thing she talks about is about the Joker and that they're breaking up, and that's like weird. But it does obviously pass. Multiple occasions. It just doesn't pass like immediately right off the bat like the other movies did.
Right. It's almost kind of interesting the way that this one works because the whole movie is in a way all about a guy, but then you would have to look at it under a very intense microscope to come to that conclusion because it definitely isn't actively about the Joker, but that is her primary motivation. Like the first turning point I would say is when she blows up the toxic waste factory, whatever, and
to be like, we're broken up.
Yeah, and that was like that if you were writing it down, like what occurred at that first turning point, you would say she symbolically is broken up with the Joker. So it does have something
but
on
you could
a
argue
subliminal level to do with
if you wanted to. Like, if you wanted to argue, you could argue that technically that's her making a decision for herself.
Right, absolutely. Definitely.
Even if it is about a man.
Yeah.
But like the motivation technically is because, like, I guess you could theoretically say the motivation is more about her asserting her independence.
Right.
Rather than her deciding to break up with the Joker.
Right. And it helps that he's not in it. So that's good.
Yeah, it really helps that he's not in this movie.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
And then the first time, it is pretty quickly. So there's Margot and there's Huntress, but then the other 3 birds of prey are not white. And the first time that somebody who's like one of the main characters who's not white gets a line is when Detective Montoya is assessing the Huntress damage, which happens extremely early on. So that is something that I was like wanting to look at too, is like, if there are women of color, like when do they get dialogue, and is the dialogue even good? And like, do they individually pass the Bechdel test? But they definitely do in this movie, and it happens like really quickly. So that was really cool.
With each character.
Yeah.
Because I want to say with the meet cute of Black Canary and Harley is in the bar when she's like, I'm gonna start my own business, like take my business card kind of a thing, and she's doing that and she's like, okay.
Yeah.
She's like, who are you, girl?
Yeah.
And she's like, you have a great voice kind of a thing. Like, that's their meet cute. Not talking about a man.
Yeah.
Montoya does her thing, and I think she actually, I want to say her first line to another female is Cassandra in the precinct.
Yeah.
When she's going through and she goes, like, you're here again. Like, why are you here again? Kind of a thing. Like, and then Cassandra takes something and like pockets it. So that's both of their lines, I want to say.
Oh, you're right.
But she might talk to. There might have been the scene with her ex. I don't remember if that was before or if it was after, but that's definitely in the opening with Ali Wong. Yeah, because Ali Wong's in this movie.
Yeah, she's barely in it though.
She's barely in it, but it's still kind of like, what the heck? Ali Wong's in this movie.
It's cool.
I like Ali Wong a lot.
Yeah, she's cool.
And I'm so sorry I haven't mentioned her yet. It's like towards the end of the podcast, but she's in this movie and it's great. But Ali Wong is like not really on her side, and they're also like exes, so there's like a little bit, but I mean, it's not about a man.
Yeah. Yeah,
not
that's
in a
better.
romantic way, I guess.
Yeah.
So her first line is either with Ali Wong's character or with Cassandra, and that's all of the characters. Huntress doesn't come in until like half the movie, and her literal first line is introducing herself to Harley, which is pretty funny.
And and then they all kind of get dialogue with each other. I like the way that was directed. Like Montoya gets dialogue with Canary, and then Canary gets dialogue with Cassandra, so they all have their own dialogue, which is nice.
Yeah, she goes like, "You're the killer," and she's like, "It's Huntress."
Yeah.
She's like,
yeah.
That was so funny. And they're like, "It's Huntress," and she's like, they're all like, "You're the bow killer," or something like that. I forgot what the line was, but it was like low-key a cooler name. She's like, "I chose Huntress though."
Oh, I forgot. Okay, so I forgot to explain what the Bechdel test is in this episode. Hopefully, if you've been listening to all of them, you're familiar. But just like a really quick explanation is that
reminder.
Yeah, that we are looking at if the movie that we talked about has 2 named women characters that have a conversation about something other than a man, and if that happens, then it passes the test, and that this is a good, or it's a film that's sensitive to representation of women. So this movie, and
we've actually made it harder because why we call it Bechdel Test Plus is that they're named characters. So the original Bechdel test was supposed to be just any woman was on screen and said a line that wasn't about, talk to another woman, and they didn't talk about a man. But we made it a plus that they had to be named characters. It couldn't just be like girl number 1 or screaming girl in bar or something like that. Like, they had to have a name and actually be like relevant to the movie. And
I definitely want to, when we get into movies that have like less white people in them, talk about like where the women of color are getting lines, because I feel like it would be a disservice if there were like 2 white girls that got lines, and then there's other like characters that are not white that don't get lines. That would suck. So yeah, so hopefully like when we can get more into that like later on. But this movie did a really good job in my opinion.
Yeah, that did a pretty good job, and it was very fun to watch.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. So I guess now it's time to rate it.
What would you
rate? Do you
want
to go first?
I want to give it like literally like a freaking 8 or 9. Maybe a 9. I'll freak it and say 9. Because I love this movie. Like I can't foresee myself getting sick of it. It just like it's like a not a guilty pleasure because I'm not guilty about it. I love it. Like this is just like my kind of movie. So I'm gonna give it a 9 because it's fun, it's awesome, whatever. I love it. 9.
I think I might also give it a 9, just because like it's so memorable to me.
Yes.
And I think like the only reason I wouldn't give it a 10 is just because of how it's not the same. Like I'm not quite sure Harley Quinn's character is always going to be treated the same.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that she's in like a cinematic universe, and they're not always going to have a director that's sensitive to that. I know that doesn't really have a lot to do with this movie, but I think I like it as a 9 because every time I've watched it, I like it more. There's not a lot of things that I don't like about this movie. I love the fight scenes. I thought the plot was great. It was really fun to watch. I would watch it again. I would recommend other people watch it. I know some people didn't like it, but I don't know why. Like, I don't really think they have really great reasons for not liking it. So yeah, definitely a high rating. I don't think I've ever watched a movie that I would say is like a 10. Like I don't think I've ever watched a movie that's a 10. So I feel like 9 for me is a really high rating.
What? Not even a Christopher Nolan
Okay, I take
movie?
that back. I take that back. There is one movie that is probably a 10.
What movie?
And we will talk about it, so you guys will just have to keep listening to our podcast if you want to find out what movie that is.
I want to find out what movie that is. Okay,
I'll tell you later, because we're going to talk about it.
Okay, shoot.
We are going to talk about it.
Okay, fuck yeah.
And I can't wait. I'm so excited.
Oh my god, I want to know what this movie is.
We both have a 9.
What?
We both have a 9 for our rating. That's pretty high, I feel like.
It's really high, but this is like my favorite movie right now. Maybe in like a year it'll be lower, but right now this is like my favorite fucking movie. So,
I mean, I went through all of 2020 and I still think that this movie's great because it came out like in the beginning of 2020.
Yeah.
And now it's 2021 and we're almost back to that same month, which is kind of crazy.
I feel like I tend to rate movies pretty high. It's just a coincidence that these first 2 movies we did are movies I was not a fan of. So, but like pretty much like a lot of movies I would rate extremely high. But those movies just coincidentally were movies that I was like, fuck no.
Yeah, I'm glad we actually have a movie that we both really, really liked. Because I think like we had things that we liked about both of them and then things that we didn't like about it. But this movie, I honestly can't really just think of anything like off the top of my head that I didn't like. Like I thought the humor was on point. I liked the acting was great with everyone. I thought the fight scenes were great. The cinematography was really fun. The outfits were fun. Like there wasn't anything I didn't like.
Mm-hmm. Same.
Yeah, I mean I've only seen it a couple times, but like I mean I feel like rewatching movies isn't something a lot of people do, because every time I tell someone that I rewatch movies, and I'm like, oh yeah, I've seen it like 20 times, they're like, oh my god, you've seen it like 20 times? I'm like, yeah, you don't like rewatch movies? And they're like, no, I watch it once in the theater and I never think about it again. And I was like, what? Every movie for you isn't a life-changing experience? Because it is for me. That's why we started this podcast. I was like, I need somewhere to put it.
No, same.
But yeah. Dang. Okay. All right. That's exciting. I really like Birds of Prey. I'm so glad we got to do this movie.
Me too.
I hope you guys enjoyed doing this movie. Let us know what you guys would rate this movie.
Yeah. And
definitely tell us what you would rate it.
Do the
FMF.
Yeah, do the FMF.
And feel free to make really long storylines like I did. I think that that's great. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast and that you tune in for the next podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening, watching, whatever you're doing, and have a great rest of your day.
Bye. One day we're going to have a little do-do-do-do-do outro.